Meanwhile, brand strategist Solly Moeng has penned an opinion piece on President Cyril Ramaphosa, where he said in recent times, Ramaphosa has gone from taking longer time than needed to make make announcements and make decisions, which are urgent matters of state, to making truly bizarre announcement when he finally does something. Solly Moeng joining us now to explain a little bit more. Good to have you. Thank you very much for your time tonight. One of those decisions that took a very, very long time, a good 3 months, if not more, is the announcement of the cabinet restructuring. Did he make bizarre decisions about this cabinet? Certainly, one would look at those who have come into his cabinet as those who stood around him in December and said, do not resign. Certainly, they got something that they needed out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Those people needed Ramaphosa inside the tent for whatever reasons, not outside the tent. Of course, it was a bizarre decision, and it was also strange that he took so long. I mean, like, the thing is, when the whole country is waiting for you to make a decision, we shouldn't be so hard to make. I mean, you should have made it soon after the conference of the ANC. You left too much speculation, too much room for speculation, and this is what's been happening. And it's almost like an anticlimax. Suddenly, when he announced the names, it was like, what is the world? What in the world is going on? How are these people going to sort out the problem? I mean, the whole Ministry of Electricity thing, I mean, it's so strange. The bloated government, he asked for him to be given a plan to shorten or to make a smaller cabinet, but then he comes out with a bloated cabinet filled with, it's almost like a rotation of wheels that are flat. You know, you're stopping in it somewhere, you realize all your 4 wheels are flat, you rotate them thinking that they'll be better in a different place. I mean, like, come on, South Africa is in a really, really painful state. This president he seems to be out of touch.
You're saying he's given up on himself. We saw him coming out with members of the African National Congress in KwaZulu-Natal, not necessarily his stronghold, but the party has decided once again to shield him, rally around him, and his close friends are there, associates are there, and some who are not necessarily behind him to take him out on this campaign trail. Hardly 18 months to go before 2024. Was it the correct decision, at least for the party, for him to stay, but more broadly for South Africans?
Look, the ANC knows that it doesn't care about South Africa. First of all, we must stop fooling ourselves that it does. This is all about the ANC. They realize if they're going to throw a dice, the best dice they can throw onto the table is the Ramaphosa dice. There is no other dice right now. If they don't think there is another dice right now. All the other dice are, as I said, flat wheels that have been used over and over again, that have all sorts of credibility issues hanging over their heads. So they think, okay, this is the best dice we have. Let's stay behind him until as long as we can.
With this whole entire pala noise, of course, coming out, the Public Protector's interim report, it was leaked. It didn't come out, of course, the way that it's supposed to come out. They're still meant to make comments on it, but seemingly haven't cleared him. One other institution so far that has spoken on this issue is SARS, saying his tax affairs are in order. Does that at least give him some room to breathe?
Oh, yeah, well, it does. It's the same way that the parliamentary committee gave him some room to. I think what we should be worried about is whether or not state institutions are now being used for political faction, for the interests of political factions. Ramaphosa is clearly in a faction of the ANC, and he's the powerful faction, of course. So, I mean, SARS has always declined to make public announcements about people's tax affairs. Suddenly it's telling us the president is okay, and then the public protector comes out with, when all these investigations, when they haven't gathered all the evidence to get to a point whether to determine, to make a very informed decision on this matter, they're coming out to say the president is okay. It's almost like they're helping Ramaphosa fight internal ANC struggles for himself. I'm not sure that this is still the last hope for South Africa. Maybe for South Africa, things have to get really, really bad before they get better again, because we can't keep going on like this. South Africa is in pain.
If he really did believe when he came in and he made that moving speech of Tumamina, which really seems to have shaken everybody, including his private backers, who are now, of course, willing to criticize him publicly, and some senior members in the party, including some of the veterans and stalwarts who have come out to criticize him openly. But if he really believed he could turn things around, the institutions and so on and so forth, and bring some kind of semblance of democracy, what changed?
Well, I'm not sure that he really believed it. I'm just saying maybe he did. Let's just give him I don't have any evidence that he truly believed that. Maybe he was naive, just like the rated was probably naive. And other people, look, I've spoken to many people who've gone into these powerful positions in South Africa thinking, I've got the qualifications, I've got the experience, I'm going to get this thing done. And when you get in there, you realize the politics is so nasty, the corruption, the vested interest of the political cabal in the system are so much that they could change you. I mean, somebody like Ramaphosa, who became a multi-billionaire, or, within a relatively short space of time, through connections to the ANC and all that, it's possible that people know stuff about him that you wouldn't want to see out there. So the minute you get compromised, you're compromised in any way. You can't stand on a moral high ground and say to other people, stop this, stop this, stop this. I mean, we've seen things being done in the ANC, by ANC people, when Ramaphosa has been in power in the past 4 or 5 years, and he doesn't do anything, including Solly Moeng. If I were president, I would have said straight to Solly Moeng, step away. He didn't. He waited for Solly Moeng to go off, and then apparently he offered to step aside. Solly Moeng, we say that ministers act or serve under the pleasure of the president, but under this president, got him untouched. Everybody's doing their own thing. And I'm saying, we don't have a sense that there's a leader here. Ramaphosa probably thought this was just going to be a walk in the park. Maybe he did, or maybe we're just seeing the real him. If you want to see the real character of somebody, give them a lot of power or give them a lot of money. Now, the Ramaphosa has all these powers. He's the commander-in-chief of South Africa's joint armed forces, for God's sake. This is a powerful position. But he is leading a country that comes from so much pain that needs leadership to get as far away from the pain as possible. But he's playing in internal political games. When he said to South Africa that I'd rather be seen as a weak president, to me, that's when I gave up on him. There's no way that you can stand next to the flag of the Republic of South Africa and tell South Africans that you would rather be seen as a weak president than one under whom a political party is going to split. That was nonsense. It was totally nonsensical. It was also cowardice.
Yes, is the country trapped between having to make a decision between an indecisive president or a worse alternative leader coming from the ANC? Solly Moeng penning a piece saying whoever convinced Ramaphosa to make that last-minute turnaround in December from what seemed to be a sure resignation didn't help Ramaphosa much. He's back with us tonight. Are we at that point where we are caught between being stuck with an indecisive president? And is he really indecisive, right? The deputy SG saying, well, the reason why he's building a super presidency with now, I think 4 ministers and 4 deputy ministers is because he wants to have authority on certain aspects of this turnaround plan.
Look, if you have employees in your company, and this is the problem when people are dealing with money that doesn't belong to them, all this wasted by the African National Congress. If you have a company and an employee, somebody occupying an important position fails, they don't deliver, they just know the right person for the job, you fire them. You don't hire somebody else to report to you in your office while that other person continues to benefit from the salary. Fire the people who are useless. Tell them, dude, you can't, or do that, you can't deliver on the job out. Let's find somebody else. But what Ramaphosa has done, he doesn't want to hurt them. He doesn't want to offend those people. That's what I mean by cowardice. So what he does, he appoints somebody else to do the same job that these guys were supposed to do in his own office. What's going to happen when Ramaphosa goes away? Another president is going to come in. Hopefully it won't be somebody from the ANC. They're going to find this bloated and so much power in the office of the president. Do you think they're going to say, oh, no, I don't want this power? No. He is creating a precedent that's going to be very hard to undo. That's what he's doing to South Africa. He is hurting South Africa because we're going to end up with the Minister of Electricity, Minister of State Enterprises. Okay, apparently that's going away. Minister of Mineral Resources. These are the people who are supposed to do the job. Fire them because they're useless. Replace them with somebody else. Ramaphosa is a coward. Now all this power, intelligence reporting to him, everything reporting into the presidency, whoever is going to take over that office is going to be, and again, I really pray it doesn't have to be somebody from the African National Congress. Then we're going to see South Africa going down further and further and further. Ramaphosa is not good for South Africa. He's a nice guy. Apparently, he speaks well. He's charming. You want to hug him, but actually, he's bad for South Africa. And usually, people who scam you are nice people. People who scam you, who walk away with your money. Other people who are mean to you, who shout at you, who insult you. No, they hug you, they eat with you, they invite you to their homes. The next thing, all your money is gone. Ramaphosa is like that kind of person, and that's painful.
Continues to make a lot of promises. I mean, we saw him last week in the National Assembly answering some questions, particularly around the economic hardships, the energy crisis, and so on and so forth. One of the promises that he makes, again, of a smaller, rationalized cabinet, is that the Department of Public Enterprises is going to be scrapped. I saw a piece earlier today saying that that's another promise that he is never going to keep.
Yeah, but that's nonsense. Why has Ramaphosa not acted on the report that apparently has been sitting on his desk for the past 3 to 4 years, with recommendations to present a smaller cabinet, less costly cabinet to South Africa? He hasn't done that. He's just buying for time because he knows there are sufficiently big numbers of South Africans who are gullible to say, yeah, but he made this promise, let's keep going. You keep falling for that nonsense. The president. South Africans are hurting. People are losing their jobs. Businesses have been hurt by load shedding, through COVID, other measures. People are sitting without jobs. People are losing their cars, their homes, their insurance policies. I see people who don't have insurance, medical coverage anymore because they cannot afford to get. And you have these ministers who are going in there, more and more ministers in the presidency. And no, Ramaphosa doesn't care about South Africa. Ramaphosa and the African National Congress think South Africa belongs to them. And it doesn't belong to them. South Africans need to wake up and take back the country. They've taken it away from apartheid. It's time to take it back from the ANC because we can't keep going on. This is the only South Africa we have. We have to save, to liberate South Africa again from the African National Congress and from Ramaphosa and his people.
Now, what does that mean? I mean, what does that future spell for 2024? I mean, is the predictions that are out there that there is, of course, a slight chance, maybe even more now, of the ANC being below 50%. Is that a reality? And what does that spell for the future?
Look, the ANC, the South Africans have to stop waiting for the ANC to lose power. They have to win power. What that means is that all these egos that you see in the political opposition in South Africa needs to stop saying, this is bigger than me alone. Everybody thinks, I'm going to be the president, I'll be the next big thing for South Africa. It's nonsense. Stop that, okay? South Africa doesn't need one man or one woman to save it. What it does need is all South Africans. There will be convergences and divergences. They need to come together and say, let's agree on some key principles. How do we save this country? It doesn't matter whether I'm the one who gets to cut the ribbon or somebody else does. We need to agree on this. The opposition parties need to stop this ego thing. Everybody wants to be president. And they have to stop Malema. Malema doesn't have the temperament to be president of a country as diverse as South Africa. Malema, apparently, hopefully it's not true, is in some kind of cahoots with Mashatile. They get rid of Mashatile. There's no evidence, but, the rumor is making the meetings out there. But Malema has gone out to say, I'll be in the union buildings next year. Julius Malema must never be in the union buildings. He doesn't have the temperament. He's short fuse. He gets angry. He insults people. South Africa doesn't need a president like that. We are an important country with potential to be a leader in Africa. We were once a leader. We were once the number one economy. Now we're number 3 economy. And we're losing every day. We're losing something else. We need a leader who can represent us in the global arena in Africa. And we want to look at that leader and say, you know what, that's my leader. Malema can never be that leader. Okay? And that leader can never come from the African National Congress. So the South Africa needs to come across, just like they did with the UDF. They need to come together and say, let's unite and take away the ANC. South Africa from the ANC, because while the ANC continues to run policies, to determine global policies, economic policies, the foreign policy and all that, then they can never be changed. They can never be changed while the ANC continues to press its knee on South Africa's neck. And it's up to the opposition parties to wake up and forget their egos, get together, save South Africa. And South Africans in the religious movements, civil society movements, all of those people need to align and stop running in silos. That's what needs to happen. This is crucial for South Africa.
If that does not happen, I mean, normally they say the track record of the presidents of the ANC have been that in the first term they cannot do a little bit better than they do in their second term. In fact, the wheels fall off when it comes to their second term. If Ramaphosa does get a second term, what kind of president are we going to be stuck with?
What second term are you talking about? The ANC has been in power for 30 years. It's going to be 30 years soon. There are people who were born when the ANC was in power in South Africa, who are now parents, who are married with that's all they know. Just like in Zimbabwe, some people only know ZANU-PF. We cannot have that in South Africa. Okay? The ANC has had 30 years to show us what it can do. Look at all the institutions, and I mean every single institution, state-owned enterprise that was created during apartheid. Okay, we've got infrastructure, amazing infrastructure that used to function in South Africa. It's been damaged under the watch of the ANC. Johannesburg, whether you like it or not, I grew up in Johannesburg. I grew up in Soweto, in Diepkloof. Okay, when I go to Johannesburg now, it's scary. It's a very scary place. Under the African National Congress, they can blame it on all these other small parties who came in and they were kicked out during, coalitions. The ANC has got to take responsibility, and that's a painful part of the ANC. It has not acknowledged that it has hurt South Africa. Okay, the ANC is responsible for state capture. The ANC defended Jacob Zuma almost 10 times. When others said, this person is not right for South Africa, they defended him. The ANC defended Ramaphosa. Now the same ANC in Parliament, they're saying, but the rater must come and tell us what went wrong. But the same ANC, the portfolio committee, they're the one that kicked Busisiwe Mavuso out when they said, you don't come here and talk politics. Okay? When she said to them, there's corruption at ESCOM. They said, no, don't come. Now they're saying to the rater, no, come and tell us what happened. It's nonsense. It's total nonsense. South Africans must stop being fooled by these people. When you give too much power to the same bunch of people for too long, this is what we end up with. The ANC has had a chance, 30 years, it's very generous, it needs to move on. Actually, out of its own good heart, it still has any. The ANC needs to let South Africa go.
Brand Rotation Management Advisor, Solly Moeng, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on tonight here on Newzroom Afrika.